Guys, Phil here. Hope you're doing really well. And today, what I'm going to cover is how executives over 40 can lose 10 to 15 kilos and keep it off. That is the crucial part. I would imagine for many of you, you have been able to lose weight in the past, but it's either not enough and then it comes back, or maybe you do get somewhere close to where you want to be, maybe for a holiday, and then it's short lived and you gain the weight back. And this is what I think it looks like. So let's cover this quickly now. If we take a crude graph here. The first part we'll do is this is day zero. This is years. What I would imagine a lot of you have done over the years is this kind of lost weight pretty quickly. So kind of and if we probably would help if I put on the side here, weight loss on the left. So you've lost weight relatively quickly. A little bit of time passes where you may maintain it, and then you fall off the wagon. Bosh, back to where you were, or possibly worse, but I can't really show that on the graph. A period of time goes by, something happens, maybe a holiday comes up, a wedding, or you just you see a photograph of yourself, or the doctor says you need to lose weight, and you think, right, I better try it again. Weight comes off quickly, maintain, comes back. And you've probably done this many times over. And the problem is, this is probably, as I said initially, I don't know, maybe 2 to 5 kilos. I get it. I've spoken to guys who have lost 4 or 5 stone and then it's come back. But for a lot of you, it's kind of like this ability to lose a little bit and it comes back. That is the problem. Where what we really want, I'm just going to finish off this bottom part. Ideally, what we want is a more steady approach that gets us to where we want to be. We maintain it and we live happily ever after. That is where the 10 to 15 comes in. It may be more, but I would imagine this is what I would say briefly as a side note is, and I say this to my clients, if you can lose 10 to 15 kilos in the right way, then it just becomes a matter of staying committed and following the strategy for longer. So if you can lose 15 kilos, you can lose 20. And if you can lose 20, you can lose 30. And I've just had a client lose 35 in the past. I had a guy a few years ago, he lost just over 50 kilos. It can be done. If you're watching this now and you're like, you kind of feel like you have just more of a dad bod, which is probably makes up a larger percentage of the men I work with, where 10 to 15 kilos really does make a huge difference to them, then this video is going to really help. We want to fix this because I don't want you to be this yo-yo dieter, because you've probably already done this for as long as you can remember, right? We want to fix this. I want you to be where that green line is. I want you to be the guy that loses weight, maybe spends 6 months to a year, get into the great condition, has a balance, feels healthier, has fitness, and then just maintains it. And I kind of say, you just get on with the rest of your life. I often say to clients, you almost want to forget about weight loss. Sure, you have to continue doing the things that got you there, but it certainly shouldn't be on your to-do list of problems to fix. It should be one of those things that is just fixed once, and then we forget about it, and the habits and the strategies are there to maintain. So this is where I think a lot of you go wrong. Of course, when we're talking about weight loss, we are talking about getting results. You might say to me, Phil, I want to lose 5 kilos. I want to lose 10 kilos. I want to lose 20 kilos. Of course, your mind goes to the result. That is not actually the only thing we need to focus on. But so if we think of this as no results, because I know a lot of you have not been able to get results in the past, or maybe have gone back to having no results. And this is result, 10 to 15 kilos. The bit that a lot of 40 plus execs don't think about, and I think this is because a lot of you have quite an all or nothing mentality of like, let's go hard, let's go in, let's achieve these goals, let's sacrifice, and it doesn't work very well. If you kind of forget about this vertical part of the equation, which is can't stick to it. It's basically consistency. Can't stick to it. Easy to stick to. And that obviously leaves us here with kind of 4 options, as you can see. Top left, is that it's easy to stick to, but doesn't get results. I see this a lot. You know, you find something that kind of works, find a hobby or an exercise that works, you find a kind of maybe a diet plan that works, but you don't get the result you want, or you get stuck. Maybe you lose 1 or 2 kilos and you plateau. Very common. And if that happens, you typically lose motivation. Not good, because when you lose motivation, when you start to get to a point where you're saying to yourself that I'm putting in the effort, but it isn't giving me isn't taking me closer to my dream, you lose the desire to make the sacrifice. It's kind of akin to, like, I often use the analogy of, like, if you were working in your business or your job and then you stopped being paid, at some point you'd be like, I'm putting in the effort, but I'm not getting the return on my time and energy and effort. I'm not motivated, I'm going to stop. You get the same with, I think that it's very much the same with weight loss. In the bottom left, we have probably even worse, no results, and you can't stick to it. And you'd be like, you might think to yourself, who does that? You might be someone that's done that. I have spoken to men in the past who have done some of the most ridiculous diets and training plans that I've ever heard of, probably more extreme than I've ever done for bodybuilding, and they still haven't got the results they want. This is, I'm not going to say much more than it sucks. That is the worst place you can be. On the bottom right is where we start to become a little bit more positive, and this may resonate with more of you, where you are able to get some progress, some results. You can lose some weight, you can gain some muscle, but you can't stick to it. Here, what I find happens is actually people fall off the wagon. This might describe a lot of you guys that have got in shape for like a holiday, possibly, where the results are happening. You go on holiday and you feel like you feel better about yourself. You are slimmer, you are trimmer, you have more fitness and more energy. But because you've left it to the last minute, or you've kind of done it in a pretty extreme way, you can't sustain it, you can't stick to it. So you fall off the wagon. So you do it for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe longer, depending on when you start. In this example, you go on holiday, you enjoy your beers and food as you should. You know, you've probably worked hard to go on this holiday and you want to enjoy it with your family. You don't necessarily want to be kind of dieting. But the thought of going back to what you did pre-holiday, when there isn't the motivation of the fact you're going to be walking on the beach or being by the pool, makes it hard to go back to. So you basically end up gaining the weight. You fall off. Where we want to be, obviously, is here. And this is long-term weight loss. You have to be able to say to yourself, I'm following a strategy that gets results. You lose body fat, gain muscle, improve fitness, whatever your goals are. It is moving the needle. You are moving towards, like if we go back to here, we are getting this result here, but in a way that you can say to yourself, this is sustainable. The key to this really is tailored approach to your nutrition. And I find there are three problems you're going to have to fix, really. Being confused about nutrition, having workouts that are ineffective or typically that take too long, and the last one, being able to stick to it. If you can kind of get all those things in place, you can have a training plan that kind of meets your needs, injuries, doesn't take too much time. Maybe you train from home instead of going to a gym. And if you have a nutrition plan that allows you to eat in a way that is sustainable for business trips and social events and date nights and going out with the kids, and you stick to some of the scientific principles, because there are some fundamentals you have to stick to, then which you can get the balance of both, that is where we get this beautiful place where we lose weight consistently over time. It might mean being a little bit more patient, but when you get there, you keep it off. If you stay in these three here, where you are unable to get results or you are unable to stick to it, you are always going to be on the red here. You're going to continue with this yo-yo dieting here. So what I would say is, the next time that you try to get in shape, lose weight, improve your confidence, get fit, whatever the goals are. And next time you attempt to do it, and if you're doing this right now, then take this on board. Think about the two sides of this model here. Don't just think about your results. Don't just think about the goals. Don't just think about where you're trying to get to. Ask yourself, is the way I'm getting there sustainable? Do I enjoy it? Because if you get it right, it can be enjoyable. Is it something I can live with long term? And if it isn't, if you fall into any of those other three squares, then you need to say to yourself, you need to be open enough to say, right, okay, this is probably not the best for me. And now, if you'd like some help putting that together, you want help putting together the strategy that is going to be proven to get you results because it's backed by science and experience, but you also want it to be tailored to your life, your goals, how much time you have, your preferences with food, so that you can piece it together and you can be in that top right box, lose 10 to 15 kilos and keep it off. Then you can do one or two things depending on where you are watching this. If it's on like LinkedIn or Facebook, either comment, or if you want to be more private, just send me a message and just put in it weight loss and we'll have a chat. If I pop this on my website, I'll probably just put a button below that you can click, arrange a quick 10-minute chat, and we can go from there.